thank you for joining us for another edition of the program Evidence on Canada English. Since the beginning of the violent phase of the Anglophone crisis in Cameroon, the unfortunate situation has have revealed the inner prowess of other Cameroonians. If there is anything good that heaven and earth will remember about the Anglophone crisis, certainly it will be the humanitarian action aimed at putting smiles on the face of people that have seen the killings, torture, torment, marginalization, and the maltreatment of the Anglophone community in the northwest and southwest region of the country. The present and the future will equally note that the Ayah Foundation brought smiles on the faces of those that are distressed. This is Evidence on Canada English. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dominic Wakimo. Stay with us. We are receiving Ayah Abine, the CEO of Ayah Foundation, son of the former Advocate General at the Cameroon. Abine, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Dominic. Thanks for bringing me here.
It's quite a long time we have been looking to get to. Your schedule have never permitted. Thank God you are here today to tell us more about the Ayah Foundation in relation to the Anglophone crisis that has been around since 2016. The first question we'll be finding out from you. The Ayah Foundation has been heading the humanitarian activities to assist refugees that are presently in Nigeria. What can you tell us about the refugees, Cameroonian refugees that are presently in Nigeria?
Okay, I'll just use a small anecdote to explain to you, to those watching, what's happening in Nigeria. Before we left for this fifth trip, we went for the fifth trip days ago, Dad and Mom told the foundation to come back with our girls.
You're talking about Ayah Abine and the wife.
And wife, yeah. So we had a tentative list, and from that list, we chose 10 girls. They chose. So we're going to Nigeria to come back with 10 girls, bringing back our girls. So we got there. 7 of them are pregnant. 7 of the 10 are pregnant. 3 survived. We came back with 2. 1 is on the way. That gives you an idea of what's happening there. The girls, and you don't blame them. The girls are growing pregnant. The boys are begging on the streets. Our granddads, our great-granddads are dying of illnesses and hunger. That is what is happening in Nigeria. People who belong to a certain country called Cameroon abandoned to die in foreign land. That's what's happening in Nigeria.
The picture you paint there is quite a bleak one. What is the notion about coming back to Cameroon?
To be very honest with you, I even have them on camera. The people prefer staying there. They are safer, according to them. And according to me, they're safer in another man's land than in their own country. Those who've tried coming back, a number of them come back from time to time. German just pick some stuffs and take back there. A lot of them get killed. I'm talking to you as a living witness to what you're saying. I feel freer in Nigeria than in the Anglophone regions of the country.
That's what they have been telling you.
Of course. They have no plans, not in the near future, to come back here. And why not? Why our troops are burning down houses, shooting at everything that is moving. Our girls are raped, and even mothers are not spared. Mothers, you see a mom, I don't know what kind of threat a mom can present. A mom coming from the forest with firewood on her head, like Sister Alice, shot down. Even priests are killed, pastors, even the no-go areas, hospitals are attacked. So they have every reason to feel freer in another man's country than in their own country. It's a shame.
Ayah Abine just mentioned that you are coming back from Nigeria. The Ayah Foundation is just coming back from Nigeria. That was the 5th trip you are making to Nigeria since the beginning of the Anglophone crisis. But yet, we have had political parties or other organizations in the country that have been telling us it's pretty difficult to carry humanitarian assistance, materials or items to Nigeria to assist those that have been displaced due to the Anglophone crisis. How come you are capable of going to Nigeria several times?
Fake news. Fake news coming from those people. They're playing politics with people's lives. Fake news. Say, before we went to Nigeria for the first time, we wrote to the High Commission, Nigerian High Commission. We tried to contact even the consulate in Boya. We tried to contact even the UNHCR 2 diplomats, and none of them received us. Are you getting this? So you tell the Nigerian High Commissioner, I'm going to your country. I need cover. I need partnership. I need protection. He never even acknowledges receipt. I went there myself. I said, but I wrote to you people. Did you see my letter? They can't even trace the letter. So maybe the High Commissioner or whoever, somebody there, just looked at the letter and just tore it and trumped into, you know, there are haters of humanity everywhere, even the High Commission. They just looked at it and surely just twisted and throw the thing somewhere. And I said, but I want to help people, and people are putting roadblocks. Am I doing politics or whatever? This bullshit. I went there like that. I just went there. And I started going and going. They've stopped me once or twice from going there.
Yes, that's why I want to find out, how did you cross the borders? How do you cross the borders the first time, cross the Cameroonian border, and they get into Nigeria with all these things? You
get to a cock and you tell the immigration authorities Cameroonian side that you're going to Nigeria or you're going to wherever. They ask you how long will you be there? You give them, and they give you a pass. It's true that now there's a standing order that when I come there, they have to call Yaoundé and answer some questions before they let me go. They've stopped me once or twice, no problem. So they give you the pass.
Let's talk about that. You are going to continue. When you call Yaoundé, who do you talk to?
No, they call Yaoundé.
Oh, they call Yaoundé.
I don't know who they're talking to. I know the last time they told me to go and meet the chief administrator of Manu Division at Mafe for him to give me authorization to go and give people food. I'm carrying perishable food, and they're telling me I should go and meet. You know how bureaucracy works in Cameroon. If at all, he would even issue you such an authorization. You don't even see him. He'll be in his parlor watching TV, and they'll tell you he's gone to Yaoundé or he's resting. You even hear his voice, they'll tell you he's resting, he doesn't have time to receive you. So they'll tell me to go and meet the administrator to give me access. That's kind of nonsense. So I just say, we just brave the odds. We just go. If we are stopped, fine. At least we attempted to assist our people, and we were stopped. So those saying they wanted to go and what are fake news is politics. If at all they even want to assist people.
The Social Democratic Front has been mentioning that they have goods perishing at the Intericon headquarters of the party because the government of this country has refused to give them authorization to go and offer this gift to refugees in Nigeria.
Fake news. Tell me who in Cameroon would stop. They'll create a scene at the border. They go there and say, we want to go to Nigeria to give our people food. They stop them, they create a scene at the border. They can even stop everything from coming in and anything from going out. And they'll have legitimate claims for doing that. And if they want to really help, they will meet those who are going there who have access and say, oh, Ayah Foundation, do this in our name. Go there and even do a big video and put it on the biggest of screens and say, Mr. So-so-so or this so-so party has sent you people these stuffs, or I don't know, print 1,000 of their t-shirts and give, since it's about politics, and give people there to wear, and give them the food so that the world would see that as we are going in for these elections, it's not just about elections, we are caring about those people. They are looking for their votes. They don't want to assist those people. Listen, Dominic, no right-thinking Anglophone, unless some greedy fellow, greedy, wicked and selfish fellow, will be talking elections rather than talking about human lives.
Ayah Abine will come to talk about elections in Cameroon and how you look at it. But now tell us about, we know of a case of a little girl that was raped by a gang. The legal aspect or the legal department of the Ayah Foundation took up that case. What more can you tell us about this girl that was raped?
You see, those who are using the word safety to say no school resumption, you have to understand their fears. Why? Even the girls are not safe. Those who have the moral, legal, and legitimate obligation to protect civilians are raping them. And it's not an individual, it's a gang of people. They knew, possibly they've been doing that for a very long time. And this time...
Who are you referring to here?
Men in uniform.
Okay.
She was raped by men, a man in uniform. We all know it. It's claimed that he's been arrested, he's judged or whatever. You know, all that is fake news.
Which location in particular? Where was she
Bamenda Central. I think it's Veterinary Junction. I have those details somewhere. I know the lady personally. The Ayah Foundation set aside a package for her medical bills. She's safe now somewhere. We don't want to disclose the location. Okay. And we're trying to create a new life in and around her. So people who have to protect people are killing them, are raping them. And the world is looking at this and they are quiet. The world and the churches, I'll be coming to the churches and all those people. They're looking at this and they are quiet. So we took up the case. We're following it up very discreetly, Betty, with a lot of intensity and determination. This is unforgivable. They don't forgive this kind of thing. Look at that young, little, wonderful, beautiful girl going out to find some food for her kid.
And that was a ghost town. The day she was raped.
Yeah, goes down. Oh, no, goes down. That's not even an excuse. Look, you will not have an excuse before the law court that a girl, for example, dressed naked, and that's why you raped her. No, she has a right to dress naked. She has a right to her body. You don't have a right to violate her body. So you not say before God that I was tempted, as Adam said, I was tempted by the woman. But you have reason, and you have the Spirit of God in you. How can you say you were tempted, but you have all the graces you need to resist temptation? If not, you and I will be going after the women. Look at beautiful Gina sitting out there and Gladys. They're beautiful women. Why are we not going after them?
So at the moment you are taking the case to the court, you say you are doing that discreetly.
Yeah.
The same judicial system in the country that many people say justice can never come out of that.
Yeah, justice can never come. There are no courts in Cameroon. There's no justice in Cameroon.
So why waste your time taking the case to court?
Yeah, I'm coming. There's nothing like a judiciary in Cameroon. What we have in Cameroon is the executive, the three arms of government in Cameroon. We have the executive, we have the executive legislature, and we have the executive judiciary. Everything is about the executive. For example, let's go to the parliament. No private bill, since this parliament has been existing, has gone into parliament. Private bill means an individual just gets up, or maybe somebody of the opposition, and said, okay, we want this thing to be debated, as they've been trying to put on the floor of the House, the Anglophone crisis. Nothing has gone. Everything comes from the presidency. Everything. Presidency. Judiciary, the same thing. Imagine, the highest ranked Anglophone judge of the highest court of the land, some 2, 3, 4 constables, some normal guys, just come into his house, not even on a day that's permissible for arrests and kidnaps. They just pull the guy on the belt, pull him on the ground, and take him somewhere and go and dump. We're talking here about a symbol of the law. With that, you say there's a judiciary in Cameroon. There's no judiciary in Cameroon. There's only a judiciary in Cameroon when they have to intimidate, kill, and destroy the lives of civilians. There is a judiciary in Cameroon.
Ayah Abine, we are talking about Cameroonian refugees that have taken refuge in the Federal Republic of Nigeria since the beginning of the Anglophone crisis. There have been conflicting ideas of the total number of refugees that are living in Nigeria. We know very well that given that the crisis is still on, the number of refugees keep increasing on a daily basis. But can you give us an estimate of the number of refugees, Cameroonian refugees we have in the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
If there are no people in Nigeria, there are over 40,000 people. The UN, as of February 2018, had registered just a little over 21,000, close to 22,000. Those are people that have been registered, officially. A lot of them, they have the refugee card. Those are people that have been registered. And among the people registered are women and children. They outgrow that number by a mile. The men are not interested in that. And even most of the women, because what? Everything is possible with our government. They are saying, there's a rumor going around that these people, you know that even people that had refugee status here, they were kidnapped and taken to Cameroon. You put another now. That's a rumor going around. So all of you whose names are here, the Cameroon government has your names. When you go back to the country, you're in deep shit. So many people don't register. Most especially the men, they don't register.
What are the UN officials telling them to convince them that the United Nations organization cannot give out their names for them to not to be kidnapped?
There's nothing they can tell them. They're leaving the evidence of the time. They've seen Mr. Julius Osiseko and his cabinet of the interim government in quotes shipped to Cameroon. Refugee status, protected people. They've seen 37 orders. And we just come to this point. Everybody's talking about Mr. Julius and the 11 members of his cabinet that were arrested. Nobody's talking about the 37 people that were picked up at Taraba State. Nobody knows where they are. Maybe they're dead. They're not even talking about those people. Okay, there are other 37 people and all that. So they are leaving the evidence of the time. They're seeing people that are picked up with refugee status, with the complicity of the Nigerian government, and shipped to Cameroon. So what would you tell them? Actions speak louder than words. The actions are speaking.
Cameroonians, we say close to 40,000 or over 40,000 Cameroonian refugees living in Nigeria presently. What has been the contribution of the Nigerian government as far as the well-being of Cameroonians refugees in Nigeria is concerned?
A lot. They are wonderful people. Though I would really criticize what their presidency did, but with regard to the Nigerian people, they are very hospitable. The Nigerian government, there is a federation. That's why you see the lawyers and teachers and a greater, I don't know if it's a greater or a minority of Anglophones. From the outset of the crisis, we're talking about a federation. In a federation, things are wonderful. The different local governments, the different federal states, they are allocating their buildings. I think, for example, ECOM. Okay. They were erecting a council hall, a big building. They gave it to the refugees.
Oh.
Benue State, the same. In Biajua, a whole health center was evacuated by the Nigerian government. They relocated to a new site and they gave them the camps. So they are wonderful people. I won't count the amount of people, the number of people keeping our people in their houses. We know for Nigeria, Mr. Emmanuel, he has 42 of our people in his house. Anytime we go there, we go and give him a lift. It doesn't match up to what he's doing, but at least it's a good sign to understand that we appreciate what they're doing. The Nigerian people have been very wonderful. In the Boki local government area in Cross River State, for example, they have allocated our people plantations to farm. The men go and farm. At times they go there for even as much as 3 or 4 days, and they come back with some produce for their wives, as little as it is, their wives and kids. It's helping them a lot. So the Nigerian government has been wonderful. In Benue State of late, 191 hectares of land were given to the refugees. So look at the foreign government helping our people, and our own government does not care. They want them to die there.
You are talking about the assistance. Recently, we were watching some Facebook on the social media. We see pictures of some 8 Cameroonians that died in the room mysteriously. What can you tell us about that?
Till date, no one can say with exactitude what killed our people. We were there Saturday 11th, I think it's 11th. We went and buried them at Danare. Danare is still in Cross River State.
Land offered by or in the cemetery offered by the Nigerian government?
Yeah, offered by the Nigerian people, yeah. It was, I think, one of the saddest of experiences. We saw a mom and her 2 kids in a coffin.
In a single coffin?
In a single coffin. A dad and 2 kids in a single coffin. That's a family perished in mysterious circumstances. Now, some people are crying foul play, highly probable. Others are saying it was suffocation. But the suffocation doctrine is a very hard one to swallow. A well-ventilated home, it's true, I think there are mosquito nets on the window, but the room is well-ventilated, people to die like that, a whole family perishing. I don't really believe it's about suffocation. It could be something else. But since we don't have proof, we who love the law, when you don't have proof, you can't give an authoritative statement. We are just praying. And
the Nigerian government has not opened investigation. This is something is quite disastrous there.
I prefer saying that the Cameroon government has made no statement about 8 of its citizens that have died in Nigeria. I prefer that one, not the Nigerian government. The Nigerian government is doing a lot, and the Nigerian government is doing wonderfully. The Cameroonian government, no statement. 8 of our people we call brothers, part of the one and indivisible Cameroon, as they call it, die in Nigeria in mysterious circumstances, and no noise. They don't care. But we're sending messages of condolence to people who are affected by hurricanes in America, in Australia. Hypocrisy. And these people go to church. It's an extraordinary thing I'm saying. See, the history books, when the history books will relay these happenings in both Anglophone regions in time to come, our kids will look at us. There are even some of them will be courageous enough to come and pull our ears and say, but what was happening to you people at that time? You people were swallowing all of this. And we'll tell them, I don't know what we will tell them. It's a sad thing. Up north, we're keeping refugees from Nigeria. In the east, we are keeping refugees from Central African Republic. We are doing national and international campaigns to raise funds for them. Strangers. And we are going to church. In those same churches and mosques, the gospel and the Torah are telling us charity begins at home. The Good Samaritan doctrine. What are we preaching? It tells you a lot. It tells you Anglophone lives don't matter. Anglophones don't exist.
Quite a difficult situation there. You mentioned there the issue of these refugees. You talk about their feeding. When you get to Nigeria, have you ever been contacted by perhaps another humanitarian group in Cameroon? Do you have other humanitarian groups in Cameroon that have been accompanying you, sometimes go alongside to offer some material things to these refugees in Nigeria?
Groups, yeah, there's some groups, but groups that are not renowned. You see, that's the paradox about charity. Those who have a lot, like those going in for presidential elections, don't care. And those who don't have anything are caring a lot. Sister Manuela, I don't know if she's watching, if she would watch this show. Sister Manuela of an NGO, she lives in the Southwest region. Just days ago, she sent some stuff to the foundation. Take this to our people when you're going there. Sister Manuela, oh God, I forgot the name of her NGO. You have the choir of singing a certain choir. Oh Jesus, I'm not good at names. I don't have my, there's a lot in this head. I don't.
She will recognize herself. Yeah. People will tell her. Sure.
You see a choir in Mutsengene, a wonderful group of people. They put some money together and say, "Hey, take to your people." Then our brothers abroad, they have been wonderful, wonderful. I don't know which name to call and which name not to call. Mr. Fombert for Brother Peter, Brother Christmas Abine, Brother Sister Mary, Sister Tina, Sister Brunhilde, there are a lot of them. The Mecca Associations abroad, Southwestern Association in Denmark. I'll just feel very bad not calling some people, but I cannot call everybody.
Sure,
there are those wonderful individuals, Mr. Stephen Forza, that from time to time they say, "Hey, Ayah, when are you going next?" I say, "I'm going this particular time." Brother Tudor Elad, take this. Buy this thing for so people and send us proof of what you have done, because it's very important for accountability and for our archives. And we keep on doing that. And that's why lots of people are believing in what we are doing, because this is about vulnerable people. We have to attend to them at all costs, in the bushes, in detention, in the refugee camps. We will send to them those accounts. This is what we did. And that's why lots of people are loving what we are doing. And a lot of people are getting a lot concerned because they are believing in what we are doing. It's not about raising money, because a lot of scammers in this thing in the name of the Anglophone Scroll. I'll come to the scammers. They are believing what we are doing is about saving lives. The risks we take. You see, when I go through the images of things we do, it makes me understand that this is the hand of God, is the grace of God, it's not we doing this work. God is using us.
The question many people are asking is, you have been there 5 times. That is not the only place you have been to. You have been to prisons in Bamenda, in Buya. Where do you get the money to assist these people?
The Ayah family is the first contributor to the Ayah Foundation. If there's anything up, anything, Mom and Dad, they are the first people to put something in. It's true, they're not working anymore. But we have a small enterprise there, small one, not the big one. We're not the big people. We've done a lot of we have honest means. We have a long career of honesty, so we have honest means. Yeah, so there is a business enterprise there. A lot of people know it, because in Cameroon in Buya, there is a particular quota from everything that is gotten from that enterprise that goes into the foundation. There's a particular quota. I won't say it here. But the Ayah Foundation, the Ayah family donates 60% of what the foundation spends. 60 to the minimum. Sisters and brothers, they're not well-to-do, but at least they're not beggars. Whenever there is something, they too. It's almost an obligation for us. Mom and Dad always put us on and say, "Hey, you guys are lucky people. You're lucky. You have a home. You have both parents. You have some small jobs." We have the small ones. We're not in the Kitki gang.
What will you call small jobs here?
Yeah. I'll give an example. One of my sisters had a good job, not very explosive, but a good job. News went to Yaoundé saying that, how can you people give that? They didn't say, but is she competent to do that? Does she have the quality? No. How can you people give that man that is against the government's daughter this kind of job? Pull her out of that place as fast as possible. Not only did they pull her out of there, but they wanted to do everything to teach her a lesson. But God being so good, her hands were clean. He ended there. So we are not in the Ekitki gang. So we have honest means. And we are very thankful to God for those very honest means. Not many people are lucky to even have a job in Cameroon. So whenever there's something, the family comes together. What do you have to give? For example, now there's a big casualty you are trying to attend to. Everybody is putting aside something. Mom called me today and said, brother and sister, everybody has given. How do you want this money channeled? I just said, no, drop into the account so that whenever we are going to Nigeria again. So the family is the first donor to the Ayah Foundation. Okay. And then we have some wonderful people. See, what I've experienced for the past 2 years, at times tears just run down my eyes. I don't control them. I can't believe that the small we can attract a lot of attention from our people. It's true that 1 or 2 francophones that are coming in, 1 or 2. So in 10,000 people coming in, that's just a figure. There are 2 francophones here. But the Anglophone community has been amazing. I just sit and very early in the morning, somebody can just call from some, I won't call names because everyone is a target now. Target for helping people. Somebody just calls and says, is this the Ayah Foundation? I say, yes, okay, I recognize your voice. I am sending 2,000 francs. When you go to the bushes, get 6 tablets of soap for our people. There are some big people that come in, say, hey, Ayah, this is 100,000 francs. That is wonderful. There are few of them. I have never experienced this. I didn't know that there are people, that people could believe, could be touched by the things we are doing. It's a wonderful thing. And this is what the Anglo-Saxon, that's why you see a lot of people fighting to preserve this Anglo-Saxon culture. This is what we are all about. We are about protecting our own. You won't know amount of people that called me when, let me not call her name, when that lady was raped, and they heard that we are in contact with her. You won't know the amount of people that called. People from all over the globe calling and say they wanted to do something for that little girl as soon as possible. How did they do it? I say, okay, no, this one is a very delicate case. The mom does not want any kind of publicity or attraction. She doesn't want to get in contact with anybody. So keep your money first. When I get in contact with them and they say, okay, you can come in. You don't know the amount of people who saw that wonderful sister we met in Taraba State. As we went there, she was dying on the bed. They were running through Furowa and she collapsed into the bush. She was exhausted, no food to eat. 4 days into the bush. As I displayed those images, everybody, people calling from everywhere. So it's an amazing thing. I didn't know Anglophones are this wonderful until this point. It's one of the positives of the crisis. I've discovered the uniqueness of the Anglophone man.
You mentioned something earlier about some people that are taking advantage of the Anglophone crisis. They scam themselves. They portray themselves, they scam people, saying they have humanitarian groups to assist the refugees. Can you tell us more about that?
There are lots of them out there. I won't call their names. I'll give you an example. Some people sent to me an advert from America, carrying my photograph, carrying my everything, and they asked if I'm the one behind the advert, the money, whatever. I said, no, I don't even know anything about these people. We've had more than one occasion, people coming out with posts on the social media saying this is the Ayah Foundation, and they put a funny number there, and people are sending money. I even have a very close friend who has done the same thing. He should be watching. I won't call his name. I called him and told him to desist from that as soon as possible.
It's evil.
I would expose him. It's very evil. Or I expose him. So people have become some other people have become so comfortable with the crisis, to the extent, on both camps, to the extent that they are praying that it lasts forever, so that they can grow more comfortable. There are a lot of them out there. Then we come now to the legitimate scammers. The legitimate scammers are the rich and well-to-do in the Anglophone regions. The rich and well-to-do. What are they doing? It's true we're coming to this topic, but let me just go over it.
Just go ahead.
What are they doing? They are shipping their kids from the north and the southwest regions to French Cameroon, some people call it La République, and abroad, and sending them to school. One of them bashed into me on yesterday. Today's Thursday. Wednesday. Today's Sunday. Sorry.
Today's Thursday. Yeah.
Today's Thursday. Okay. One of them bashed into me. I said, you're preaching school resumption. I said, no, I'm not preaching school resumption. I'm not preaching school boycott either. He said, but anybody wants to send his child to school should bring his child to La République. I said, but how do the poor do that? How does Pa Osam in Tinto? He has nothing. I meet him from time to time. He doesn't have food to eat. He has lost everything. How does he bring his kid to La République, as you call it, to come and foster education? Say, no, that's the only thing to do. So the rich are bringing their kids here, and they're telling the poor who are there not to do the same, that their kids should not go to school. They are scammers.
Hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy at the apex. Hypocrisy. They are scammers of the scroll.
If you are tuning in, this is Evidence, and we are receiving Ayah Abine, the CEO of the Ayah Foundation, giving us insight as far as Cameroonian refugees that are presently in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are talking about problems they have been encountering and how the Ayah Foundation is helping. Let's find out from you, Ayah Abine. There have been much talking about government 12 billion humanitarian plan to assist Cameroonian refugees that are presently in Nigeria, and equally internally displaced person. How did they receive the news out there in Nigeria?
They received it as fake news, and you wouldn't believe what they did to me this time I went to one of the camps. I was arrested and detained for some time.
By who?
By our people, our refugees from the camps in Cross River State. Kept me there. They said they have information that what I'm bringing to them is from the government. They don't need anything from the government. I said, no, it's not from the government. You know, I'm half nothing to the government. They said, no. And that they suspect that that food is poisoned. I said, poison? I'll come and poison you people, my own. They said, no, eat that food. They brought a wrapping food, a plastic bag, full of half full of Gary. I said, I should eat it. I said, no, this is too dry. Bring water and sugar so that I drink. You go down. They said, no, just eat like that. If you bring water and sugar, it could dilute the poison inside. Yes. So I took a half a wrapping full of Gary before them. And they brought water. They said I should drink the water so that the Gary goes down. I don't know if our people at Ajaso are watching. If they could watch this, it would be a wonderful thing. And I took it. They said, no, it's not enough. Maybe it's not the Gary. Maybe it's the oil. They brought oil and gave. I took the oil and sipped. And they said I should stay there for about an hour, let them observe. I gladly did that. And after about an hour, we're there for even 2 hours. They said, okay, no, then that food is genuine. They said they don't need anything. They're the ones talking. We have them on camera. They don't need anything from the government. They don't need anything at all. And I understand what they're saying. How can you be talking of a humanitarian whatever while you're still killing people? So these people are hens and goats. You just throw some grains of corn on the ground. They come and they eat. The young ones eat. You kill the young ones. The mother goes away. You give the mother more food so that it feeds, fattens, and puts to bed more kids. Throw another grain, quantity of grain, comes and eats. Then you end up even killing the mom. How can you be preaching humanitarian aid while you have not called for a ceasefire? So you're killing people. And at the same time, you are feeding the survivors. I think that is nonsense. I have never believed in any humanitarian whatever. For there to even be a humanitarian whatever, which I think was as a result of the pressure that came from abroad, for there to be any kind of human, you must first of all even recognize the problem. The government has never recognized the fact that there are refugees in Nigeria.
The fact that there are refugees and the fact that the problem do exist. But we see government, there was a time we see they gave gifts in Bamenda, they gave some gifts here at Peka Disset, a neighborhood in the city of Douala, giving some Cameroonians in the northwest and the southwest that ran away from the insecurity in their respective regions, taking refuge in the Federal Republic or taking refuge in Douala. How do you look at that? Is that an assistance?
Laughable, laughable. The people that need that humanitarian aid are in the bushes, in the south and in the northwest region. They are the people that need. If the government is serious, they should go to the bushes. The people that need that aid are in Nigeria. If the government is serious, they should go to the refugee camps in Nigeria or send some of their envoys there, hoping that they will be accepted, they will be received, well received by our people, for them to be offered humanitarian assistance. Not people in Pay, Kwaadus, I think those people are French-speaking Cameroonians. They were just having a nice time with them. Not people in, I don't even know where they go and distribute this. I just see images. They should be just, you know, we are used to, in this country, we are used to a lot of things. People are carried in buses from the north to wherever to go and vote. So it's highly probable they can go and pick some people from, I don't know where, ship them to some other town and do their showbiz. We're talking about 12 billion. It's 12 billion.
12 billion, Francis.
What's that money gone to? You see, we're not in a serious republic. If we're in a serious republic, people managing those funds have to be called to book. Where's the money gone to? 12 billion for those small images you're talking about, those small things that cost maybe 100,000 francs in total, that can be offered by one elite or even one of those political chiefs. It's a shame.
We'll take a little break in about 5 minutes, but time for us, for you to explain to us. There was a time you had a problem with DHL in Yaoundé, that is a transit company. You sent a parcel to the United Kingdom. It never arrived. It did arrive, but the person that was supposed to get it, the recipient, did not receive it. And finally was brought back to Yaoundé. Can you throw more light on that? Many people say on the social media that the poor management of your parcel was politically motivated.
Yeah, I still have the strong belief that it was politically motivated, because at that time there were a lot of things happening at the same time. Even now there are a lot of things happening at the same time. For example, PayPal, they've blocked our accounts. We cannot more have any good person from anywhere around the world donating to us through PayPal. MTN money They did some funny thing that they're watching. They did some funny thing, and up to now, the explanation to what they did makes no sense at all. So, DHL, we sent a parcel abroad. We are not informed that there are extra charges to this parcel we've sent. We pay the money for the parcel to be shipped abroad, 300,000 plus. The parcel is shipped abroad. On my receipt is written, all charges inclusive. The parcel gets to the United Kingdom. The recipient of the parcel is not even called, as is usually the case, to be informed that he has a parcel. He's not even called. 2 weeks later, he's calling me and saying, "Babe, that parcel, I think I said I sent the parcel long ago, 2 weeks ago." He's the one calling DHL. DHL is saying the parcel has not been paid for. He produces the receipt. The language changes. No, you have to pay tax. What tax? And even if you have to pay tax, you'd pay a tax of, what did they ask again? Of half the cost price of the parcel. So they did everything for the parcel to return, and the parcel returned. And I went and claimed my parcel. I returned home, and I wish them well.
Now, who are you suspecting might have motivated such an action?
There are two camps in the Anglophone palaver. There's the camp that, or maybe there are three camps. This can only come from the people that don't have the interest of the people at heart. We know them.
Thank you very much. We'll take a little break. When we come back, we shall be talking about school resumption, how Anglophone refugees in the Federal Republic of Nigeria are thinking about going back to school. You shall be telling us more. If the kids are attending classes, you shall equally tell us about your reaction to the All Anglophone General Conference expected to take place in the town of Buea. That will be in the month of November. And you shall equally comment on the issue of presidential elections 2018 in Cameroon. Welcome back to join us. Time for us to talk about back to school. We are a few days to the school resumption of the 2018-2019 school year. Ayah Abine, let's find out from you. What is the perception out there? Refugee camps, Cameroonian refugees in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the children, how are they preparing for school?
Well, there's nothing they can do about school. They don't even have food to eat. You see, if we can go by Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, there will be safety first, there will be food, if you can call it, and shelter, before you even get to education. So food, security, safety, all those are the base, they are like the foundation of the house before you get even to education. But all of this can go together. So talking about the refugees, they have no plans about that. Rather, the Ayah Foundation is working on a project come September, sending refugees to school. We'll prioritize the girls, the girl child in particular, and the kids. Would send as many as possible to school. They belong to school, and it's safer there than even here.
The way you talk is give a bleak picture there, which means going back to school is pretty difficult there. Can we talk about your father, the former Advocate General of the Supreme Court? It's expensive for the Ayah Foundation to sponsor all these kids. We talk about prioritizing girls. Where do we get the right materials? Ayah Foundation is going to foot all the bills for these items.
Well, we have some nice people within and without the national territory that assist us in the things we do. As I told you from the outset, the Ayah family itself contributes more than half of everything we spend on vulnerable people. So we'll be doing our best. We're thinking we could send a minimum of 2,000 kids in Nigeria to school, a minimum of 2,000 kids. By the grace of God, why not? We could go even up to 5,000. It just depends. It depends on, we already have an idea of the school fee at various levels. So it depends on the understanding of the Nigerian people.
That should be a huge sum of money.
Yeah, quite a lot of money. It depends on the understanding of the Nigerian people. They are very understanding people. It depends on the input of the UN, if they'll be able to do anything. They're already doing quite a lot. But what is most worrying is back in the country, the two Anglophone regions with school resumption. It's a very tricky topic. And most people who come to the media, and even on social media, they follow the refrain, because it's good to be on the side of the refrain than to be on the side of bullets and arrows. So everybody comes there, says no school, or he just keeps quiet, or says no, it's not safe to go to school. the excuse, the alibi advanced by most people saying no school is safety. So let us look at safety. If it's about safety, then I think it's the weakest of defenses you can give to support the no school resumption, whatever. Let's look at the no-go areas, the hospitals. The hospitals have been attacked. Doctors, nurses killed. People pulled out of hospital and killed. Those are no-go areas. Ambulances shot. How safe are the hospitals? Unsafe. Have we ghosted the hospitals? No. People are still going to hospital. Let's look at the churches. Men of God are killed in those regions. They're killed. You know, you have all the information. I'm not inventing anything.
Yes. No,
churches are attacked. Corpses are dumped in churches to frighten people. How safe are the churches? Unsafe. Have we ghosted the churches? No. We come to schools. Same story. We go to the streets. The most of persons killed have been killed on the streets and in the bushes. Are the streets safe? No, they are unsafe. Have we ghosted the streets? No. So we cannot hide behind the safety, it's not safe, principle to say no school. Rather, and this is where I stand, I am for education. I cannot but advocate for education. I'm about building lives and saving lives and improving on people's lives. That's what the Ayah Foundation is all about. I'm for education, but there is a but. It's not about safety. Safety affects all sectors of the economy, all the no-go areas. It's about education for everybody.
So what are you proposing now? You want the kids to go to school despite the threatening security situation?
Everybody has a right to education. The detainees have a right to education. They should not be in prison. They are political prisoners. We have people who have done worse and they are free. We have somebody who just got into a coffin and said, it's not well, the government is not doing good. And he's in detention. How do you expect his kid to go to school, mindful of the fact that the dad is in detention, he could die anytime? How do you expect the kids to be psychologically and morally set to go to school? I have a good friend in detention, a lot of them. Students, Babila, he's in Kondengi. What's he doing in detention? He too has a right to education. So I am for education for everybody, not just a few. The refugees have to come home and go to school. Those in the bushes, how do they go to school? They need to leave the bushes and come to school. And those who are the poor men, because this is about the poor people, the common man, the rich people and the well-to-do. I call them the scammers of the struggle. What are they doing?
You call them the scammers of the struggle.
Of the struggle on this education, whatever. They are putting out their kids and exporting them to French, Cameroon, and abroad, and sending them to school. And they are putting pressure on those poor people, the peasants, who can't even have what it takes to eat, not to talk of what it takes to ship their kids to this part of the country and go to school. They are putting pressure on them not to send their own kids to school. And they are proudly saying that if you want to go to school, take your kid out of this territory. How does Pa Osam in Tinto, deep into the forest, I met him once. He doesn't even have food. He has just those clothes on him. And his 2 kids. He has lost 2 others. How does he ship his kid to this part of the country or abroad for school? How does Mama Peace of late, her sister, and a child, Juliet, are in the bushes at Kwakwa, deep into Meme? They don't have what it takes. You get out of those places, you meet the military to shoot you. How do they ship their own kids to school? So it's about these people. So I am for education for everybody. Everybody should go to school. And for that to happen, you need to release those people in detention. They are fathers of children who need to go to school. Those children need them by them to be psychologically set to go through school. You have to bring back those refugees from the refugee camps. And those people in the bushes, bring them out of the bushes. How do you do that? Ceasefire. And it's he who declared war who calls for a ceasefire. The government should call for a ceasefire. We cannot win this thing with arms. We are wasting our time.
Let's pick up from there. You are talking about the government to call for a ceasefire. We have the All Anglophone General Conference that is expected to hold in the month of November this year to discuss issues about selecting credible Anglophones that can probably represent the Anglophone community in case of any dialogue with the government of President Paul Biya. What is your reaction as far as the Anglophone General Conference is concerned?
every idea that is aimed at bringing an end to this madness, I call this madness. I don't know how we got to this stage of killing ourselves. You see, at times when I look at those images, I ask myself if those in power really have the interest of the troops at heart. Because if we have the interest of the troops at heart who are falling, if we really feel for those families, we'll put an end to this war. We cannot be fighting against ourselves. So, every idea that is aimed at bringing an end to this madness is a laudable idea. It's a good thing. At the same time, there are preconditions for this conference to get into place. I heard them say release of detainees, among others. If those can be achieved, it's already a milestone. Everybody wants those people out of detention. What are they doing there? They are people who have done worse, who are handling posts of responsibility in this country. And among those people, there are people who are asking for these people, some of whom or most of whom just came and say, hey, things are not going right, to be killed. It's strange. People have done worse. They're free. Free these people. Free. There is no way we can go about this.
But many people have criticized Christian Cardinal Tommy for bringing up such an idea. They think the context today does not permit the holding of an all-Anglophone General Conference in order to discuss issues to bring about resolving the Anglophone crisis. We have heard on several occasions where the mayor of Boya, Ekema Patrick Esunge, have mentioned that the conference will not hold in the town of Boya. Your reaction to that?
If the crisis has gotten to a level which it has gotten, it's because we have people like the mayor just mentioned. I don't even like commenting about him. You see, I live in Boya for the most part. It's true, I'm extremely mobile, but I've lived in Boya for 18 uninterrupted years before starting what I'm doing. Boya was not even respecting ghost towns. If Boya got to the point where it's respecting ghost towns more than any other town, it's because of that mayor. And if we're in a responsible republic, people like that should not exist. They should not exist at all. He's the reason, and I don't know how some people don't understand this, he's playing the game of the restorationists. He's playing their game and wearing and putting on a CPD t-shirt. I think he's doing that even intentionally. He's doing that intentionally.
What do you mean by that?
How can you wage a war against the people who made you what you are? You cannot do that. The people remain the people. They don't necessarily need you to be the people, but you need them to be what you are. How can you wage a war against the people who made you what you are? They are telling you all is not well. I have a kid at home, he's crying and telling me all is not well. I'm beating him up and telling him all is well. He's the one putting on the shoes. He's telling me there are blisters. I'm not even telling him to put off the shoes, let me look at the toe. I'm telling him nothing is wrong with you, shut up. I'm instead beating him up. How can you go against the people who made you what you are? I'm telling you, if the crisis, especially in the southwest region, Boya and Limbe in particular, have gotten to the level which I've gotten, is because of this man. The rhetoric is not the kind of rhetoric that is used or employed in times of war. I expect people, there were people that are making a lot of noise from the outset, but they got to a point and understood that no, it's good we shut up. But he and some other high-ranking people, honestly, in a serious republic, they should not exist.
We are a few minutes, less than 10 minutes to the end of the program. Time for us to talk about the most 2018 presidential elections in Cameroon. Less than 10 candidates, 9 of them in total going in for the 2018 presidential elections in the country. Among the 9 candidates, we have 3 Anglophones that are going in for the top job in the country, Cameroon. What's your reaction to an elections in the present context today in Cameroon?
All those people, in my opinion, are very greedy and selfish people. They're very greedy and selfish people. No right-thinking person, especially those of Anglophone origin, no right-thinking person can be talking election now. It just goes a long way to tell you that we have lost everything, especially in the Anglophone. We are not like that. That's not our culture. We are about our brother's keeper. We are about life first, not about politics. In short, it's a business even. It's a business because you go and put in some 30 million and you're given, it used to be 5 million and you're giving 15 million in two shifts. Now it's 30 million, then they could possibly get 30 times 5. Maybe 150 million, that's a lot of money. It's business. How can a right-thinking Anglophone be talking election? So you go to Batibo, you meet Pa Etia, whose house was burnt. His kid was burnt in the house. You tell them to go and vote for you. You go to the trees and the houses and the rubbish between Kumba and Boya. The rubbish that is there, there's nobody there. Everybody has gone into the bush. You're going to be campaigning for the houses to vote for you. None of them has even gone to their base, to Nigeria, to go and see the people there. So it's not the people first for these people. It's their interest first. Who would even vote for them? I hear people making a lot of noise about it. The opposition coming together, and that if they do, they can have a chance against Biya. They'll have no chance.
You just mentioned something there. Recently, the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa made public statistics indicating that 106 villages have been raided in the northwest and southwest region of the country. The center that is being the founder, Barrister Felix Mbala, mentioned that most of these villages have been deserted. How do you think politicians are going to go to this place and campaign?
You're helping me buttress what I'm saying. I say, I don't know how they'll go about campaigning to the houses, to the trees, to the stones, and maybe the little cattle or fowls that are left to vote for them. It's completely deserted. By the way, Barrister Bobala is doing a good job. If he's watching, good job. You should keep up. There are even more villages than what he mentioned. I've been to those places myself on foot, seeing the rubbish. You go to some places, Jesus Christ. As I've mentioned, those who use the Boya Kumba stretch, those 10 villages, about 10 villages, there is no life there. So if your base has been ripped off, because these people, let's be very frank, every politician has a base. These Anglophones, their base is this former Southern Cameroon territory that is a problem now.
Ayah Abine, let me quote the flag bearer of the Social Democratic Front, Honorable Joshua Osei, mentioned that the problem we have in Cameroon today, the northwest and the southwest, is not in Batibo, it's not in Kwakwa, it's in Etudi. Where once a good person is put there, things are going to change.
As I was saying, the opposition can come together, and Jesus Christ, the one and only, comes down from heaven in flesh and stands as their candidate. They will still lose. If the president of the republic
being
is
so
very
pessimistic
kind,
there.
No, it is better to believe that salvation is coming tomorrow. Jesus is coming in flesh and blood, and it's easier to believe that's possible. The other way around, elections, forget about it. I say if Jesus comes and stands as your candidate, if the president is very gentle, he can give them about 30% to prove to the international committee that there was some kind of competition. Listen, elect all its members, CPDM, or maybe 4/5. Constitutional Council, the same. They have not even resigned from their posts, their party. They have not resigned. Elekam, what does he do? He organizes the elections and takes the results and sends to the Constitutional Council. They have 2 weeks to go through their deliberations.
Time is no longer on our side. Let's find out. Recently, Ayah Abine was convocated at the police station in Buya. What was it questioned about?
Some funny guy came to the house one morning. I came with some summons. He doesn't even know. I don't even know who sends the guy. He doesn't even know how a summons is served. Came with a badly served piece of paper, threw it to my mom, insulted her. Honestly, if I was there that day, I would have lost my calm. Insulted mom. Mom called dad. Dad came. Even seeing my dad, someone who is old enough to be his father or grandfather, he threw insults at them and told them that if they don't come to the police station the next day, they would see what would happen to them. My dad told him, a summons is served through a bailiff. If you don't do that, I'm going nowhere. Until date, he has gone nowhere. This is what is happening in the country said to be in a state of law. We are in a crisis that is already beyond those who have the responsibility of solving it. And instead of going to where the problem is, they are chasing shadows. You are going behind the peaceful people. Ayah Paul, somebody who by some magic, he's still staying very moderate and very rational. Because I bet you if that was done to me, what they did to him, I will not be as modern and rational as he. I won't. You remember how I was when he was there? I was very hard. I was ready for anything. Because it's upon my dad here. My dad goes down. Everything about us comes to an end. He's one of the reasons why we're able to do the things we're doing, helping people. If he dropped down, all of us are down. So, you treat that kind of man that way. After you've jailed him for nothing for 8 months, and you're still after him, instead of going where the problem is. Madness. He didn't go there. We're still waiting for them to serve us through a bailiff. Before then, troops surrounded the house. They came there, masked troops. That day, that was a Wednesday, the Tuesday, and a Monday, they were at our orphanage with guns, pointing at kids. How can you do that? Kids, some of whose parents were killed by the troops. We're about to give a better meaning to their lives, and you're still doing that to them. Imagine Sam Sawyer's kids who were slaughtered. That's the truth. They're not yet recovered from that trauma. They're living with us. And they're still seeing people coming with guns after them. How can we be doing this? At a time, we rather should be looking for solutions. It's a sad thing. It's a mad thing. That's why I keep saying that there are people from both camps that have become so comfortable with the crisis. They're making a lot of money from it.
Ayah
lot of fame,
maybe
and they don't want it to come.
The last question which we'll find out from you. After your father, Ayah Abine, was detained several months and was later released by the Cameroon government, there were news about your father taking up the case. What has been the way forward as far as that is concerned?
The case is up. Right, has submitted the case and asked us for additional evidence which we forwarded to them. The judge on several occasions told us, the sitting judge on the case, that some people have tried and they keep trying to influence him. No problem. If they influence him, we'll keep taking it up until it gets to a point where it could not be influenced. There are several of those cases. One in the UN. The UN has not as much as even acknowledged receipt. You can understand why. You know what the UN is all about. I used to call them the disunited nations, not even the United Nations, because the UN cannot claim to have no information of what's happening in Cameroon. Instead of them practicing conflict prevention, they're praying that there should be a conflict and many people should die. That's what they're doing, in my opinion, so that they can come in now and start getting some big people like Bill Gates and the rest pumping in lots of hundreds of millions of dollars that are used to drive the expensive air-conditioned cars and live with big allowances and in some big houses, rather than solving a crisis and preventing loss of lives. So they want everybody to die, as it happened in Rwanda, before they come in now.
Ayah Abine, perhaps your last word to Cameroonian refugees presently in Nigeria watching you, and equally those internally displaced. Any words of comfort? You have been on the field, but now on air.
If there is any reason we are leaving the Ayah Foundation, it's because of them. If there's anything we do, every word we advance, every thought, every action, it is them at the center of it all, because we believe that everything should be centered around the human person. The human person. That's why I won't call Ayah Paul, I'll call a lady like Kawala, I love very much. She's about solving the crisis first, not the elections. Elections has changed nothing in the life of any Cameroonian except the 1% that are benefiting a lot from everything about the country's resources and whatever. It has changed nothing. Amend that constitution. That's what the right nation would do. Send that thing far, election to whatever. It will even help people to stay in power. And solve this crisis while losing lives on both sides. Even the troops. They don't have to be there. They have to be alive.
Thank you very much.
And cater for the family.
Thank you, Ayah Abine, the CEO of Ayah Foundation, for accepting our invitation. So much to talk about. We'll find time some other time to invite you to continue the story. Thank you so much for coming.
I thank God for the graces.
Well, thank you all of you who watch us. We receive Ayah Abine, the CEO of Ayah Foundation, that have been doing a lot to assist Cameroonian refugees and internally displaced persons in the country since the beginning of the Anglophone crisis. I am Dominic Memengwa Kimo, wishing you a nice time.